Okay, so this should be a pretty quick one. This is going to be on 10.2. And this is dealing with arc length, talking about arcs of a circle. So there is a bunch of definitions in this one thing. So let's go through this. A central angle of a circle is an angle whose vertex is the center of the circle. So basically what we have is if C is the center, then this angle that you see created here, this 50-degree angle, that is a central angle. Also, this angle C right here, if we were to call that angle C, that angle right there is also a central angle. Okay? It says the points that lie on circle C with endpoints A to B, okay? So from A and B, those form an arc. Okay, so this right here, these parts are called central angles, and then this part right here, that is called an arc. Okay, those points in between A and B. Okay, so now it says if the measure of the arc is less than 180 degrees, it's a minor arc. So right here, well, actually, we have to take a step back. So it says the measure of an arc is equal to the measure of the central angle. So because this central angle is 50 degrees, the measure of this arc is 50 degrees. Okay, so that's also 50 degrees. So the measure of AB, and you see this line, that means the arc of AB is equal to 50 degrees. Now, because it's less than 180 degrees, we call that a minor arc. Okay? Now it says, the next part says, if the measure of the arc is greater than 180 degrees, then it is a major arc. Okay? So we'll get to that in a second. And then it says, if the measure of the arc is, if the measure of the arc is 180 degrees, then it's a semicircle. So right here, if we are given that this is 130 degrees right here, okay, the reason why I know that's going to be 130 degrees is because this right here is our diameter. And that means we're going to get exactly half of a circle over here. So if we were to add these two up, 50 plus 130, that is equal to 180. So the measure of AM, arc AM, so A to M, and again, I'm going to give you a different color here, from here to here is equal to 180 degrees. That means it's a semicircle. Okay? And then that means that AM is going to be our diameter. So we can make sure that we write that down. AM is diameter. And remember, a diameter will always split a circle exactly in half into 280 degree circles. So then what we want to do is we want to label what the rest of this is. So if I do this with a different color, if we're going to do a major, like something that's over 180 degrees, that's what we call a major arc, we want to do it with 3 letters. That makes it a lot easier so we know which direction we're going in. Okay, so this is going to go all the way around. So we have A, N, B. So arc A, N, B. We definitely know is going to be a major arc because it's over half the circle, which means it's over 180 degrees. So we can easily figure out what the measure of this will be is because we know that there's 360 degrees inside for an entire circle. So if we do 360 minus off what we don't want. So this is what we don't want. We only want from A to B. So it's 360 degrees minus what we don't want. So it's 50 equals 310 degrees. So that is the measure of A and B. So make this a little bit further down here. Okay, so the measure of A and B equals 310 degrees. Okay, now the last part is the arc addition postulate. It just says the measure of an arc formed by 2 adjacent arcs is the sum of the measure of the 2 arcs. In other words, if you just add if you added any of these 2 arcs up, So like, for example, I'm going to do the measure of A and B, which is what we just did, equals the measure of A, N, M plus the measure of M, B. Okay, so in other words, we have A, N, B is equal to A, N, M, which is this part right here, this half, plus MB. It's really, really basic. If you're adding two things up, it will give you the whole, or it'll give you everything that you have. So if I wanted to add this and this, then it would just give me the entire thing. Okay, it's a pretty basic postulate. Do not make this more confusing than it is. In other words, we have 180 degrees plus 130 degrees equals 310 degrees, which we've already identified as being what the measure is. Okay, so 310 degrees. So it's just taking two smaller arcs and adding them up to be a bigger arc. Okay, so again, don't make that too complicated. Okay, let's look at a problem real quick. Okay, this is the bottom of the initial notes. So let's just look at these two examples. All right, so this first one, it's wanting you to find the measure of MO. Well, again, MO will be simply found by the degree of the central angle, so MO is just going to be 135 degrees. ONM, which means we want from, let's do this in a different color. So this is from O to N to M. Okay, well, again, they're telling you that MN is the diameter. So that means all of this right here is going to be 180 degrees. So all we need to do is figure out what this is right here. Well, we can simply do that by either doing 360 minus these two, or we can just do 180 minus 135. I know that from here, this line right here, all the way to this line right here is 180 degrees. So if I do 180 minus 135, that will give me what this missing angle is. So that ends up being 45 degrees. So I know that this is 45. So therefore, ONM is going to be 180 plus 45, which equals 225. And obviously there's more ways that you could do that, but that's just one way that you could do that. Okay, so what I want you to do is try and do this last one on your own, and then hit pause, take a second to do it, and then just hit play when you're ready. Okay, so this should have been pretty easy for you, actually. It should be real simple, 180 degrees. All you have to do is be able to follow N to O to M. That is half the circle, because NM is the diameter, so 180 degrees is half the circle. Okay, so for the second example, I'll do the first one with you, and then I want you to do the second two on your own. So it wants the measure of BE. Again, the results of a survey about the income levels of the households of Taylor are shown below. Find the indicated arc measures. So this first one wants BE, so it wants from B all the way to E. And remember, the interior angles equals the measure of the arcs. So if I want from B to E, I'm just going to add these two up. So it's just going to be 79 degrees plus 83 degrees, and that is equal to 162 degrees. Okay, try these two on your own. Again, hit pause, just hit play when you're ready. All right, so what we have here is you should have gotten 137. Again, I've diagrammed this for you. From BG, how did I know to go to the left and not to the right? Because if you're doing a major arc, going a long way around, it'll have 3 letters. So this one right here is just from BG, we get 137. So then the second one says BDG, which means we're now going this way, B to D to G. Well, for this one I did it a little bit quicker because I know the entire thing is 360, and I know what the red portion is, which is the portion we don't want. So I just simply did 360 minus the 137, and I get 223. You could have gone through and added all of those up, and that would have been completely fine. although we would have had a little bit of trouble because we didn't have the angle measures of every little piece there. So you got to use a little bit of common sense there and notice if I know what this is, I can just subtract this off to get the rest of it. Okay, so that's it for this one. Take your Edmodo quiz and bring questions that you have tomorrow.